Good day, my friends. Hebrews 11:1 tells us that faith is believing in something that you can't see. Now, we all have some faith. For example, you get in a car and you turn the switch on and it comes on. Well, we believe it's going to come on, even though you may not know how it works. I don't know how it works, but I believe it's going to come on. Same thing with a light switch. I don't know how electricity works, but I believe when I flip the switch, it's going to come on. So all of us have a type of faith. But what about faith in God? You can't see God, but we still believe in Him. Well, I can't see the wind blowing, but I see the results of that. And when I think of God and I look at His creation, I can't see Him, but I see the great things that He's done and He's created. And we've talked about in the last couple of weeks about in my life, some of the highlights and things that I've seen Him do in my life that help me believe. But there's also times that we don't see. And yesterday we talked about a time in my life where I didn't sense God's presence for a year. Well, I think of another time in my life that I prayed to God, really believing that He was going to answer this prayer, and He didn't do it, at least the way I thought He was going to do it. And that is something that somewhat shook my faith for a while. I had a friend of mine who was sick. He had a brain tumor, and he was a little older than us, but we prayed, my wife and I prayed, and we believed, other people were praying too, that God was going to heal him. And yet he died of his brain tumor. That somewhat shook my faith. I questioned God, why? I mean, I really believed, why? And I came to a conclusion that there's some times that God does things that we don't understand, but He sees the full picture, the greater purpose. And we can't see that. And we have to trust that He knows what He's doing. Sometimes I know as a child, just say me as a parent and my children, I make decisions sometimes that they don't understand. And they may not understand. They may never understand. They might when they get older, but they may never understand. But I make decisions that is the best benefit for them and for their overall picture. And so, friends, I want to say, when you pray and God doesn't answer your prayer and you think He's going to answer it in a certain way, don't get discouraged if He doesn't answer your prayer the way you think, because God sees the big picture. We're going to talk about the big picture tomorrow. So be back with us. God bless you. Bye-bye.